ground.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Fizzy Fox TV here, and I'm back at it again with another YouTube video. And today we're going to be showcasing our top 1 through 8 Tekken games from worst to best. And I'm very excited. There's a lot of personal preferences and a lot of Tekken games that I know that people love and I love as well. I've been playing Tekken since like 2008, 2007, you know, when Tekken 6 was released and stuff like that. And I feel like it'll be very nostalgic to go back in time a little bit and check out, you know, what we've gotten over time and stuff, you know. It's like Tekken 3 was already peak, but I would have to say like from 5 and up, it got really good, you know. So we're gonna hop right on into this video. And guys, before we even hop into this, actually, can you guys please follow my Facebook and my Discord? They will also be down in the description below, so that we could all stay more connected as a community and we could all keep each other updated on stuff and gaming news and updates and stuff like that. And so you guys can keep me updated, you know. So let's hop right on into this countdown. Okay, so for the worst Tekken game, it would have to be Tekken 4, released in 2001. Though it was the introduction to a lot of like new mechanics and characters and stuff like that, and the graphics seemed to be pretty like okay for the time period, but I would say Tekken 4 just lacked in, you know, yeah, I would have to say the like I'll give them that for their bold, you know, approach on the series and stuff like that, and with the realistic stages, which I really hope that we get a lot of Tekken 4 stages back. I'm not gonna lie, because in the older games they did have really good stages. I'll give them that, but Tekken 4 just seemed very unfinished to me, and that's just personally my opinion. It had a very great story actually, and it's just the mechanics and the gameplay really is just very off for me. I get it, it's like the earliest stages of Tekken and stuff like that, and I'll give it props for after Tekken 3 for like certain things they improved on as far as just like graphically, but as far as like mechanically, this game is very off. And you know, it definitely got me through the bored days of PS2, so of course I'm gonna just give it all the praise in the world. I'm not gonna even lie, because you know, at the end of the day, it is a childhood classic, but I would have to rank this as the worst one, only because, you know, 3 was fun. 3 was just very, very fun. Before, you know, it just got very serious, and you know, you just getting into, you know, the more realistic graphics and stuff like that for the character models and stuff. So, you know, I give them that or whatever. So, you know, but I would still have to rank this my top 8 spot. So I'm just gonna have to pick Tekken 4 as, yes, the worst Tekken game ever. So let's hop on into the next Tekken game. Okay, so for number 7, I'm gonna have to go with Tekken 6. And yes, I know this is peak in a lot of people's eyes, and I know that Tekken 6 is probably one of the more familiar one to a lot of people, since, you know, we had a lot of years with Tekken 6. I mean, released in 2007, we had a lot of variety. I would say campaign was probably what kind of killed the game, but I wouldn't say that all the way, because I did have fun with campaign mode and I did think it was actually pretty cool, because it was kind of the first time we got to see certain stuff like that inside of the games and stuff. And I feel like, you know, them having that different route is just something that, you know, drove people to Tekken 6. I wouldn't say that it's completely bad of a fighting game, but it's very unfinished, and it is another unfinished title that, you know, they tried to step in a different direction, and sooner got better at their mechanics and, you know, their system for, you know, the characters, because, you know, how these characters play over time, it does matter. And, you know, they definitely, for what they've improved on, I'll give them all the props in the world. And Tekken 6 is a childhood classic, probably one of the first of my few 3D fighting games I've ever had in my catalog. So I would have to give, you know, Tekken 6 this rating, only because of also Tekken 5 previously being more actually of a stable game than Tekken 6, which is actually pretty crazy. But, you know, they were trying things new. And I enjoyed the arcade mode. I enjoyed a lot from Tekken 6, actually. I actually have a lot of achievements on Xbox 360, now looking back at it from like back in the day. And, you know, I actually had some very, very fun times with Tekken 6. But, you know, now that I'm older and I have a more mature perspective of the game, I'm going to have to rank it as my top 7 spot on this list. So even with the introduction of customization and, you know, having such a big roster for the time period, I would have to say, like, you know, it's just, as far as character development, I'm happy they improved on it in the future. But yeah, guys, this is just my pick, honestly. So let's hop right on into the next. Okay, guys, for my number 6 spot, I'm gonna have to put Tekken Tag Tournament, released in 1999. All right, so this game was like amazing. I would say like one of the probably more way ahead of its time titles at the time period, just because it incorporated a tag system. But then again, we had Dead or Alive at the time too, so it's kind of like they weren't really the only people who have done that yet, as well. But side to side, I would say like it's not as stable as opposed to what we got with Tekken Tag Tournament 2, which was a freaking, that game was just what? That game was amazing. So for what we got in the future, honestly, I'm not really mad at the first release. I don't really look at it as a bad video game. A lot of people skip over Tekken Tag Tournament, but I feel like people should actually check into it because it's not even that bad. And for like, nostalgic purposes, why not, It had innovative tag team system and fan service, but lacked story. But gameplay was revolutionary at the time, and and the way they did it and had all the mixed up characters with when they started incorporating like bears and animals in their game and stuff like that. Even though I'm pretty sure they did that from the beginning with Tekken and stuff, but like I just think it was really cool. I think it's probably one of the more slept on games and underdog games. But I could say that yeah, it has its flaws, and but it also has its qualities that makes me come back to this game a lot. So I'm gonna have to rank it as my number 6 spot, guys, and we're gonna hop right on into the next Tekken game. Okay, guys, for my number 5 spot, and this shouldn't really be a shocker to much people, but I'm gonna have to rank Tekken 8, released in 2024, as my top number 5 spot, and it's for a lot of reasons. And once again, the series going backwards in a lot of ways, and even with Dead or Alive, even like I told people, it's going to be a shift where this is going to be the last time period for a lot of these 3D fighting games to even have the platform or have a big audience. Because yeah, we have a big audience to a certain extent, but still we are outsold by other genres like adventure and shooting titles. So we have to get it together once again. So that right there alone is just stepping back with like the system that we already had. I do feel like Tekken 7 did play better than Tekken 8, and that's just my personal preference, my personal opinion as a whole. But what it did have was visually stunning and aggressive graphics and stuff like that. Like I love the new improvements and stuff, but they still got to improve on their female models. They still got to improve on a lot of little graphical things that it does bother me a little bit. They did pretty good on Lily though. Like Lily looks pretty great. She looks amazing. The best she's ever looked in a lot of these games. Finally looking better without CGI or anything. So I'd say like Tekken 8 has improved definitely on a lot of stuff. I love the new things you can do with it, especially for beginners. Now you can actually learn how to play Tekken now, as opposed to what we had to learn for over 15 to like 18, even more than that. Oh my gosh, over 25, almost 30 years of people playing Tekken, and now there is a way you can learn the game completely without having to do all the technical things with the controls and stuff like that, and giving people more of a variety and having more newer players come to Tekken. Because Tekken it's a very hard game to learn. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like if you haven't been playing fighting games at all, this is probably a game that I'd say start off with first, because there's also, I heard you can buy also a thing where you're able to see like the frames and stuff like that per second and stuff like that. Even though Dead or Alive showcased that shit for free, and I'm pretty sure they still do with like how many frames per second, so that you guys can study our characters in certain ways, so that you guys can get better with any type of character y'all want to get better with and stuff. So I give Tekken 8 its props for actually sticking to what's original, but also showcasing it to a newer audience and actually gaining that type of newer audience by a few technical changes. So at least it's an easier way to play Tekken. It's an easier way to strategize yourself and stuff like that, and the characters look amazing. And I'm pretty sure this new season pack that's about to come up, I hope that they release really good characters like for real, because I've been bored lately. I've been wanting some new variety to Tekken 8. There's a lot of people having their own mixed opinions about how they are stepping in the wrong direction, but I just feel like with a lot of these games, like I said, it's our last time to showcase this stuff. So we got to do our big one. We got to actually, support and represent, because this could be the last time we get really good fighting games. So, I would have to rank Tekken 8 as my number 5 spot. And we'll definitely talk more in different videos about this, though, guys. But let's hop into the next Tekken game. Okay, guys, for my top number 4 spot, I'm going to have to put Tekken 7, released in 2015. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite Tekken games. I feel like even going down to the bowling, even though it wasn't everybody's favorite little mode that was there, but it was there for like extra achievements, I'm pretty sure, as well. But I unlocked all the achievements in Tekken 7. Like, I had a blast. Like, probably one of the it's definitely what revived the franchise, competitively strong, and has a very strong esports presence and stuff like that. Solid roster, but it's controversial for mostly its rage mechanics, and I just feel like personally that's not what bothers me, because it's still a stable game. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to what we got with Tekken 8. Yeah, them stepping back with the stability of the game and forgetting, let's not forget what made Tekken special now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, there's a lot of mechanical fixes and stuff like that, but story mode is actually pretty fun. I actually enjoy story mode for this game. I don't really think it was that bad. I feel like the gameplay aspect of the whole game, like as far as like for tournament purposes, and if you want to anything close to what we got with like Tekken 5 or certain things, like they just stuck to the normal material. I feel like Tekken, even Revolution, or if that's what it was called for the PlayStation 3 when they had that whole PlayStation thing in the store back in the day and stuff back in 2011. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called, that game. I have to do my research on that, but that was a very perfected Tekken game as well. Very highly slept on as well. So I would have to say Tekken 7 is also up there too, because it's the most completed Tekken game that we've ever had. Not lacking on, I'd say, character development and story and stuff like that, because they kept it pretty much together with everything. And I love the beginning to the end and how they showcased that with like the newer graphics and stuff like that. And they also improved on so much, but character models still looked a little bit, a little choppy and weird, but it was still a stable game. We also had amazing DLC characters, and Mortal Kombat was basically known for its like DLC characters at the time of them incorporating like licensed characters and stuff like that in their game. But Tekken 7 in general just took the cake with adding the guy from Walking Dead, and then we had like the inspired main character in the game. So it's just like they just they really pushed it with this one, and that's why it's at the number 4 spot, and I'm not ever going to probably rank it higher unless, once again, they keep stepping back. But, let's hope that Tekken 8 gets the updates that it needs and stuff like that, so that the game could be, perfected and complete as well. But like I said, Tekken 7 was by far one of the most complete games, best DLC characters, best mechanics, and gameplay was just stunning. So we're going to hop right on into the next Tekken game. Okay guys, this is where we get to the more fun and entertaining part of the video, because we are at our final 3, and I want to say that being the second or third most complete Tekken game, I would have to give it to Tekken Tag Tournament 2, released in 2011. Oh my gosh, guys, y'all don't even know the impact of this game. First of all, it should have been a separate game. Should have been Tekken 7, not for nothing. I don't know. It should have been, because of the graphics and because we got to see like all the old Mishimas, and they all got to be playable characters and stuff like that. And even the Kazamas too. It was just amazing, that family bloodline. You get to finally use all the characters. The roster was freaking long as hell. Like, I'm pretty sure the roster was over, I'm pretty sure over 61 characters, which is absolutely amazing. Probably one of the best features about the game, which should have been. I honestly still feel the same way about Tekken Tag Tournament 2 being, Tekken 7, because it does make a lot of sense. And plus, they kind of kept up with the storyline and everything, and they kind of incorporated newer characters. We had Sebastian, which was playable as like a little guest character. We had like the bears and everything. Like, it was just really cool. You had to see the side characters finally get some love, and because Tekken 3 was the last time they kind of did stuff like that. And I love how they have an option where you could do like single player mode with the characters and stuff like that. If you want to have separate gameplay to yourself, or if you want to like, practice the character on your own, so that whenever you want to do tag team, it's not so hard for you to get adjusted to it. So I'm glad how they incorporated everything in one, even though I wish it was a separate game outside of like the Tekken Tag Tournament series, even though it had to be done because, um, the fans, they love what they love. And, it was something unexpected for us to see at the time. And I'm glad that we've gotten such a good game, even though this is like another game that was also ahead of its time as well, too. That I wish that we can get a Tekken Tag Tournament 3 eventually one day. But yeah, that's why I will put Tekken Tag Tournament 2 on my top 3 list. So let's hop on into the next Tekken game. Okay, so for my top number 2 pick, this was very hard, guys, but I'm gonna have to put Tekken 3 1997 as my top number 2 pick. And here's my reason why. Like, come on, it's a genre-defining classic. Introduced sidestepping, fast movement, and modern Tekken fundamentals. From then on, it was the start of something new that people have never seen in the mid-90s, late 90s, that, a lot of these games were trying to also replicate as well, too, even though Virtua Fighter is the originator of the polygon, 3D fighting game, genre. Like, even as a whole, Virtua Fighter is the founder of that and the start of those 3D fighting games becoming very popular. But, Tekken did something different that nobody else did, and they incorporated like a better roster, just better, funner characters to play as, very simple and fun to get into. In my opinion, Tekken 3, 5, and a few others do have that stable, grounded gameplay that kind of made Tekken, what it is today. I wouldn't remove all those like fun, cool mechanics and stuff like that. Like, I feel like what Tekken 3 did and a lot of the older Tekken games did was keep it fun, and so that people aren't taking this game as seriously, because unfortunately, even what I've been hearing recently with the poor net code in certain ways, and some people are still having lag problems, still having certain issues with Tekken. But I would say, like, if they just went back to the basics and looked at what made Tekken what it is today, they wouldn't even be having these issues right now, as far as to like where the characters are at, development, story, this and that. But Tekken 3 just takes the cake as a whole of being one of the more complete Tekken games, in my opinion, as well, too. Though being such an early release and being only the third out of the entry and out of like the trilogy as a whole, I'd say that it still racks up today because of tournaments as well, and people still playing it. I mean, what other 3D fighting game do you see people actually playing other than Tekken 3, as far as like 90s and anywhere earlier than that, as far as fighting games go? So I would just have to rank Tekken 3 1997 as my top 2 spot on this list. So let's hop right on into the next Tekken game. Okay, guys, for my top number 1 pick for my favorite Tekken game of all time would have to be Tekken 5 and Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection. And hear me out. This is by far one of the most stabilized, most perfect Tekken games out there to this day. And it was peaked to many fans. Near perfect gameplay, massive roster, smooth mechanics, great balance, and iconic soundtracks. Like, y'all can't even beat that. Like, first of all, it had a lot of variety for what it was at the time, and it also introduced Lily and a few other like characters that were new. And I honestly feel like there's no other Tekken game that actually stood to what made it good, like, other than 5. I mean, they can make it just as good as 5 because it was before all the crazy juggle mechanics started coming in, and then they started incorporating other shit and other stuff into the game that they probably shouldn't have even done, because that's what made people confused in the first place. And that's why a lot of people didn't really like 6 as well, because they were going in this direction where it was one thing, the juggle system, but it's not as over exaggerated as it, as it is now, as opposed to like the older Tekken games. Like, I see how in Tekken 8 and 7 they tried to bring it back to its roots in certain ways with the game and stuff, but it's really hard to replicate these things. I don't know who's producing these games. I don't know who's behind the older games or the newer games, but I would have to say that Tekken 5 did something right, and it's definitely worth going back to this day, and still competitive to this day. It's a lot of these older games that are still competitive, and it amazes me. I love the community. This makes you love it even more when you get to see all the the old school fighting game people and the newer school fighting game people. It's just it's a lot. It's a lot that I love about this. Like, I'm really amazed, with the impact that Tekken has had on the community and stuff, and that it's been keeping us strong in the 3D fighting game industry for a while and stuff like that. And it's just it's a lot of like praise I have to give Tekken at the end of the day, you know. But guys, this pretty much showcases my top 8 best Tekken games from worst to best. So guys, if you love this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to click that notification bell so you guys can be notified every time that I upload. And deuces.